Hey, Eric.
Hello, fellow YouTuber.
So you say.
Yeah, so Google, doing things that Google does, they have killed off their podcast app and their podcast management, whatever. So there is no longer a Google Podcasts and a Google Podcast Manager. I found this out on accident. I was looking to fix some stuff on the website, and when I logged into the Google Podcast Manager with our account, it said, we are discontinuing Google Podcasts as of April 1st, and you will have access to your blah, blah, blah until July 20, your management account till July 27th, after which it'll be null and void. And it basically said, here's a one-click button to migrate everything to YouTube, because apparently podcasts are now going the video way. So
Okay.
so now
So you clicked the button and it worked with one click.
You know very well it did not work with one click. No, so I had to go out. I created a mostly security YouTube account. Fortunately, it was still there. I guess nobody thought to typo squat that one, or Anyway, so yes, if you want to follow our podcast on YouTube you can
with no video.
Well, the video is basically the logo. So if you want to play the podcast and stare at the mostly security logo for the duration of your listening pleasure, go figure. It does split the chapters out, which is nice. So you can jump around inside. When you start playing, it has the chapters all laid out. But what doesn't do is it doesn't take the chapter art. So there's got to be some other, because I've seen other videos of podcasts that do the chapter art. So I don't know if there's I don't know what the dealio is there.
I'm sure there's a standard tag, media tag.
I'm sure there's a YouTube specific format. Anyways, so there you go.
Is there a new tombstone on the things Google has killed?
Yes, there is. If you go to, what's the website? Killedbygoogle.com. I think that's what it is. Yes, killedbygoogle.com. We've talked about this has been a something fun, or we've talked about the site at various points over the years.
Exactly.
So Google Podcast was killed 16 days ago, and you would think, oh, so that's the most recent thing on the list. No, that's fourth on the list.
There've been 3 other things killed in April
since
after April 1st.
Right. So there's something called Google Jamboard, which I don't think I ever used that one. And then there was Jamboard, which I don't know what the difference between Google Jamboard and Jamboard is. I think they're the same. One was an enterprise workspace one was the consumer one. And then VPN by Google One. So I had a Google One account. I got a Pixel phone. It comes with a Google One account. I've been using that, and it was nice because when you would do anyways, I also, and that was even more recently. So
okay, so to be fair, those latest three of the 4 ahead of or since Google Podcasts look like they're announcements, because they're actually going to end in September and December. So
correct,
you have some notice of demise.
Yeah. Yes. In the spirit of being transparent, that is correct. They haven't died yet, but they are on.
I'm not dead yet. All right.
So,
yep.
Anyways, there you go. We are now officially YouTubers.
Well,
and
I consume enough YouTube content.
You should go subscribe to our channel.
Oh, I probably should. I'll go give a thumbs up. And ring that bell. It's been notified when I post new videos. Sorry.
Well, and add something to the YouTube community chat, the mostly security community chat. I did turn off comments on
I was going to
videos
say,
though.
I thought you turned off comments.
Well, I
Yeah,
did, but there is a separate, like if you go to youtube.com at mostly security, there is a community thing, and I've posted a few things, random things there. But I don't know if anybody can post that or only, I think that's only us, you or I can post in the community chat.
I
Anyways,
see.
whatever it is, yay us, we're now YouTubers,
Okay.
whatever.
That's pretty funny. Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so
Okay.
I spent a lot of my weekend. I did pull out the barbecue again on Sunday. Sunday was a much nicer day,
Okay.
and made some fantastic barbecue this weekend. And yeah, I spent a lot of time just doing digital spring cleaning, I guess you would call it, digital housekeeping.
Thank you for housekeeping all the mostly security bits. I, I I got some texts while I was out crawling around the field with a backpack sprayer on my back, and I was like, "Oh, good for you! Thank you, Eric."
Yeah, and I also resurrected a couple ideas, app ideas, and played around with those a little bit over the weekend. So
Fun
stuff. That was my weekend.
Fun. Okay.
What did you do?
Well,
Aside from crawl around, apparently, in the garden.
I mean, a couple things. So, yes. So, there's a poisonous plant in the Pacific Northwest called tansy, or tansy ragwort, I think, or something like that. And we try to keep it off of our property, but it is very hard. And quote unquote manual removal of tansy, aka be out there in the hot summer before it goes to seed to try and actually like remove the stalks, is a very, very sucky job. So I am trying to the best of my ability to be proactive and go spray with a broadleaf or a herbicide.
Okay.
The florets, essentially whatever the green things are that turn into the flowers later in the year. So I am sure that I did not get them all, but my hope is that it is easier work now, and that everyone I spray is like less that I have to do in the future. But it was not a pleasant Saturday morning, I will tell you that. So, I console myself with the thought of this is much less miserable than other things. So, but that was okay. So that was okay. And yeah, I did a ton of work outside this weekend because it was a beautiful weekend mostly. And so on the tractor, my wife spread fertilizer on, anyway, just all sorts of outside stuff, which was great. I also whipped out the smoker for the first time this year on Sunday.
And
did a brisket.
And
I give it a solid C.
Okay.
C plus, maybe. I enjoyed it, and I've been eating on it for the last couple of days because, but the rest of my family thinks that it's too fatty a cut of meat. And they did not enjoy it, and that it was too peppery. So I used the chance or this is the first time that I've done this since I got some of the seasonings from Hutchins in Texas, and
yep,
I thought it was quite tasty, but my family, it is very peppery. Compared to what I've done in other things. I tend to avoid heavy black pepper because nobody else puts pepper on anything but me in the house. And anyway,
you're missing out.
Yeah, right. So anyway, I've got a canister of seasonings that I will use, but slowly. So if you ever want to give it a shot, let me know, and I'll let you give
I just
give
might.
a Hutchins try. So it was pretty good, and I was really happy to actually have the smoker going. It kind of made my day.
Yeah. I was at Costco the other day and staring at the meat section, checking out briskets and whatnot, and then I saw a pork butt, and I think I want to try to smoke a pork butt, which is really a pork shoulder, but it's more fun to say pork butt. So I was looking at that going, that actually looks like that would be tasty. We do like shredded, a really good shredded pork. So that's on my to-do list this summer is try smoking a nice pork butt.
Okay. I have only smoked things that came out of our own freezer cow. So it's hard to get a pork butt out of a cow.
Nigh impossible, as they would say.
So anyway, so the other funnish thing that I did, I've been doing for the last several days, I guess, is it's spring, it's planting season. I've got a bunch of stuff going in the greenhouse. I've planted a few things out. They're only just starting to germinate. The things that I put out as seed are only just starting to germinate in the garden. But I've got some transplanted lettuce out there that's going pretty good. And anyway, so I decided that I would print myself some garden stakes on the laser engraver. And
so didn't you use the cutter? Talk about that last week, the cutter. Now you've engraved. You've now done two stakes.
Did I talk about that last week? Maybe I did. In which case,
you just told me.
In which case, I've been doing it for more than a week, which I didn't realize I had been. But my wife saw them and was like, "Oh, I really like those." And by the way, her 5th grade class is doing a fundraiser selling a bunch of plants that they've been growing for the last, a month or more, 6 weeks.
Okay.
At the beginning of May.
Make some fancy stakes for them.
And yeah, she was like, "You should print me some of those so my class could use them as a fundraiser, as part of the fundraiser." And
there you go.
So I've done a few herb stake bundles at the moment. And I've got a few others that I've done that are kind of the plants that they're selling, and then some just generic, like I've done a few for flowers and stuff like that are common. So I don't quite know how that will wind up happening, but I was like, whatever. I bought these, those basswood. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like 10 inches by 10 inches or 11 inches by 11 inches on Amazon. And,
yes.
So anyway, so that's been a fun thing. I've cycled, I don't know, quite a few things through.
All right. Well, I threw in a couple things for follow-up.
I was going to say, looks like you threw some stuff in follow-up.
I should just do follow-up because, we talked last week also about the supply chain attack, the XZ maintainer, hey, you need to add a maintainer because I need to contribute some security fixes.
That was pretty brutal.
Apparently, there have been some other open source groups that are noticing the same kinds of things, the same similar attempts. And so
sort of behaviors.
I'll link to an article. Yeah. The messages are all sent from different names, all with GitHub associated email addresses, and generally constructed. They have a type,
a modus operandi.
Yeah, the suspected attackers identify themselves. Hey, add me as a project maintainer to address any critical vulnerabilities. I have extra time. I'd be happy to help. All that kind of stuff. But anyways, so the first follow-up is, it's not just XZ. That's just the one that caught it. I'm sure there's more stuff going on as soon as someone figures it out. So there's that one we talked about last week.
Oof.
And then, what would this be? Episode 327. So what's that? 5 weeks ago? 5 weeks ago, we talked about Roku having a security incident. Well, Roku has had yet another security incident, and this time over 500,000 user accounts were accessed using credential stuffing. So malicious hackers used usernames and passwords stolen from other data breaches to try to see if any Roku accounts came through. And Roku said about 400 accounts actually got through. So use a password manager, folks. Don't reuse passwords. Don't reuse the same passwords on different sites. And they made some fraudulent purchases of Roku hardware, streaming subscriptions, etc., using that payment data stored in those users' accounts. And Roku said it refunded all the affected customers. And apparently Roku has 80 million customers. I didn't realize it had that many. Wow. The company did say, Roku did say, that the malicious hackers were not able to access sensitive user information or full credit card information. But if they got your account, they could charge stuff to your account. Right. I was going to say entertaining. That's not the right word. Roku said it discovered the second incident while it was in the process of notifying the 15,000 Roku users that had compromised accounts in the earlier attack. So
there's a story in there where some poor researcher / investigator / SOC person was like, "Oh, hey,
it's not over."
Hey, Jill, come take a look at this.
Exactly. Anyways, so following these security incidents, Roku said it has rolled out 2-factor authentication to all the users. Good. 2-factor authentication is always
that's
a good thing.
A decade late and $1 short, I guess, but okay.
But it all works. So those are my 2 follow-up, just kind of quick follow-up drops.
Okay.
And then
hopefully it doesn't come in 3s for Roku.
Yeah. And then my article, I thought this was actually cool because we have kind of commented. I didn't look up the episodes, but in the recent past, we have talked about some LastPass breaches. And LastPass breaches are...
LastPass had a rough last year.
Yeah, they're not good because LastPass is a password manager. And so they manage all your passwords, which is what I know you and I encourage people to use, some kind of password manager. And one of these days we need to talk about passkeys again. I've started using them. I do like them. Sorry, sidebar.
Okay.
But I need to find a good article on passkeys. And anyways, all right. So anyways, the reason this is actual a LastPass blog, and it is not about them revealing some other breach. This is about something good that happened. So it's about a deepfake call. So I think we've talked about in the past of attackers using deepfake audio of executives making calls to employees, imitating the voice of the executive, telling them, "Hey, you need to transfer this." And I think it was last year sometime. I know we talked about it. I should have looked these episodes up. But the CEO who ended up transferring a bunch of money because the call came from what they thought was the real CEO. Anyway, so an employee received a series of calls at LastPass. A LastPass employee received a series of calls, texts, and at least one voicemail featuring an audio deepfake from the threat actor impersonating our CEO via WhatsApp. I'm reading here. As the attempted communication was outside of normal business communication channels, and due to the employee's suspicion regarding the presence of many of the hallmarks of a social engineering attempt, such as forced urgency, our employee rightly ignored the messages and reported the incident to our internal security team so that we could take steps to both mitigate the threat and raise awareness of the tactic both internally and externally. And then here's where LastPass just wants to clarify. To be clear, there was no impact to our customer. However, we did want to share this incident to raise awareness that deepfakes are increasingly not only the purview of sophisticated nation-state threat actors and are increasingly being leveraged for executive impersonation fraud campaigns. So good on LastPass. I thought this was a pretty good article, just kind of listing out what happened, what they did, and then kind of raising awareness of this. So I thought this was well done, LastPass. Nice blog post.
Good job on whoever the employee was that was like, hey, this is really weird.
All right.
Okay. Awesome. Nice that when you put a LastPass thing in there, I was like, oh no, what happened again? I didn't hear that.
No, I was, props.
Yeah.
Props. Is that still a thing? Or
props?
Do kids still say that? Props.
I don't know if kids say that, but we can say that.
So
I think it was time for another IoT thing, is what I thought. So that's my choice is an Ars Technica article, Mr. Dan Gooden, about LG TVs. And for some mysterious reason, more than 88,000 of these TVs are connected directly to the internet, according to Shodan, which is not a great idea. But who's connecting their TV to the internet? I don't know. Anyway, so it does say the vast majority of those units, I assume this is in descending order, are located in South Korea, Hong Kong, the US, Sweden, and Finland. So,
okay.
South Korea and Hong Kong. There's no percentages or anything here, so I don't know, how many are in those countries, but the vulnerability here, and I'll read this thing. It says the vulnerabilities, plural, which affect internal services that allow users to control their sets using their phones, make it possible for attackers to bypass authentication measures designed to ensure only authorized devices can make use of the capabilities. The key vulnerability making these threats possible resides in a service that allows TVs to be controlled using LG's ThinkQ smartphone app when it's connected to the same local network.
Well, that's not the internet. It's the same local network, right?
That is true.
Unless the internet is your local network.
Well, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's designed to connect to the same local network, but the vulnerabilities in a web app. So the service is designed to require the user to enter a PIN code to prove authorization, but an error allows someone to skip this verification step and become a privileged user. An error is one way to put that. So as you would expect from Ars Technica, there's quite a bit of detail in this article. I certainly didn't pull out all the detail, but the main trick to get a profile created in the first place seems to be that there's a variable you can set in the registration request called skip prompt, which is set to true when either the client key or the companion client key parameters correspond to an existing profile. And so you can request the creation of an account with no permissions, which will be automatically granted. And then you request another account with elevated permissions, but you specify the companion client key from the no permission account and say skip prompt. The server verifies that the companion key exists, but doesn't confirm that it actually belongs to the account you're trying to create. And so it honors the skip prompt variable and allows the creation of the account without a PIN. So it's basically, the validation logic that says, is this a valid client key? Just checks whether it's a valid client key for anything, not for the account that you're actually trying to operate on. So that gives you a way to create a user account, or a privileged account, they call it, with no user interaction. So now there's a huge attack surface, and there are 3 other vulnerabilities. So this overall, they're talking about four CVEs here, but then they use another vulnerability to get root access, and then the others that allow you to run commands as they call it the dbus user, DBUS. I don't know. Database user. I don't know what DBUS stands for. So, the net on this is that these vulnerabilities have been patched, but, is the TV set to automatically update or not? And certainly the vulnerable TVs, if they're connected to the internet, will remain vulnerable until they get the patch, which, again, who knows? So the main takeaway from this is, don't connect your TV, don't connect any IoT device practically straight to the internet. They should be behind a router, maybe even a different, network from most of your other computing devices. But the quote in here is, there's rarely a legitimate reason for exposing most Internet of Things devices to the internet, particularly a TV.
Yeah.
Instead, they should be confined behind a router so they're never visible to the outside world. So there you go. If you have an LG TV, maybe go run the software update on it.
Yeah. All right.
How about something fun?
All right. So my something fun, I saw and was thinking, I think I did this. And I went back and looked at episode 257, titled "This Does Not Math." One of my something fun, I think, was the submarine cable map. So where are all the internet cables buried around the world? Well, The Verge, and really, this was just a really well done article as you read through. So I would totally go through and read this article from The Verge. It's all about how the internet cables undersea and the repair ships that keep them going, because they break apparently all the time. And there are, you can read through it, but there are new transoceanic lines that are being laid every year. And there are apparently only a very small number of ships that are going around to repair any lines that happen. So it talks about how repairs happen and how, like, earthquakes, they see earthquake happen somewhere, they start sending ships that way because they know cables will be broken and they'll have to repair them. And apparently there are 77 cable ships in the world, but they're all focused on the more profitable work of laying new systems, and only 22 are designated for repair. And it's an aging and eclectic fleet, to quote the article.
Aging and eclectic fleet.
Yes. And so it goes through and talks about, like, a lot of these are ships that are way out of their designed lifespan. Anyways, so it's a great article.
I'm totally, wow, this is like some crazy HTML gimmickry in this article here.
Yeah, it's really well done. It's really well done, and a fun and interesting read. So I would go out, if you have any interest in the duct tape and baling wire that holds together the internet. This is a must-read article.
TCP/IP is so genius. At the end of the day, or at the beginning of the internet, it's so pretty impressive. If cables are breaking, that means packets are going a different route.
Yeah. Yeah.
Automatically and invisibly.
So there you go.
Okay. All right. That that article, I could not skim that article. That is an
No,
article that
it's
needs
very long,
needs,
but a great article. Go check it out.
okay. Okay. My something fun this week is a concert we went to literally last night.
Okay.
Last night. Today's Wednesday. Yes. It was Tuesday night, and so it was Drum Tao. It's one of the Pops concerts, I guess. I don't know, with this Oregon Symphony. Oh, I don't know. We, as I have mentioned here many times, we go to a lot of symphonies concerts, Oregon Symphony. But when we looked at the agenda for this year, or the schedule for this year, Drum Tao was on here. And so this is a group of, I guess I didn't count them. I'm going to say a dozen ish. Musician performers from Japan, and it was a really kind of rocking good time. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't sure what to expect, but a lot of drumming. They do have a YouTube channel. The link I'll put in here is to their own site, drum-tao.com.
Okay.
And evidently we're at the very tail end of their North American tour. They are going from Portland up to Seattle on the 22nd is the final concert, and then they're done for, they did say, there was a brief amount of talking at the end of the night. They did say that they'll be back in 2 years. But anyway, I really enjoyed them. So go out, maybe watch a YouTube video or two.
Yeah.
There were lots of. I really wanted to whip out my iPhone and try and record some of that in slow-mo. Maybe there's some videos on YouTube that actually show, but it seemed inhuman. How could you go that fast? And anyway, so it was very enjoyable. So that's my something. I figured that'd be my something fun this week was, it was really cool.
I do like percussion type acts like this. I think of like Blue Man Group kind of thing is
yeah.
Totally.
I mean, this is a little more, I guess, Oriental. There was some little bit of some form of stringed instruments that I have no idea what they were, but they had mini strings on them. not harp mini strings, but way more than guitar strings. And some flutes and what appeared to be at least reed flutes. Anyway, it was very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. So watch some videos, and then maybe in 2 years, when they're back in Portland, you should get some tickets.
I might have to do that. It does look pretty cool. I might have to go watch some YouTube videos with some fellow YouTubers. So I'm going to ride that one as long as I can.
Yeah,
I'll probably forget about it by next week.
Get a little bit, but.
All right.
All right, my friend.
Have a good one, John.
I'll talk to you later, Eric.
We'll see you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.